One thing I don't miss about living in New England was the snow. But much different circumstances now because I don't have to get to work. Come on. Yeah, this is rad. I found this really cool view of Half Dome where you can see it. Camera's clicking away doing a time lapse. But you can see the clouds kind of rolling through it or over it in the background here. So I'm gonna try to get a cool time lapse with the proper camera, no offense, GoPro, and hopefully turn this into like a really cool video of the clouds rolling through and covering up and then reveal.
Yeah, so pro tip, don't format a card before double checking that you got everything off it. Anyway, here's a couple of shots from that location. I still liked the one of Half Dome where it seems to be emerging from the clouds. Then I tried to get a panorama of North Dome and Half Dome. The finished file was actually 190 megapixels, so if I print that one, it'll have to be real big. When I was done there, I packed up and just started heading around the park to see if I could find any little wintry vignettes. At this point, I was just trying to take advantage of the fact that the park was fairly empty since the snow had cleared a lot of people out.
This is like an actual winter. Oh, cool. Cool. I'm just gonna shoot this. Yeah, I think I want to shoot this. Oh, what I got that? Alright, time to go.
Now, while this footage isn't really profound in its nature, that's kind of the reason I decided to roll on some of it. Even though nothing was really happening, the scene still felt alive somehow. Every so often you'd see these tufts of snow getting blown off the branches from the wind, and since it wasn't snowing at the time, it kind of made it seem like the trees themselves were actually trying to shake the snow off of them. Maybe that's just me wishing that they were giant Ents to complete the whole fantasy world feeling, but hey, I was by myself in Yosemite and just had to use my imagination, I guess.
One thing I've learned is that it's extra important in a place that has very iconic landscape and silhouettes to the geology, the rocks, is to keep the camera, make sure that the camera's level before setting it up, because it changes the lines on the cliff faces. And some of those, like Half Dome, everybody kind of knows what Half Dome looks like, and if you're a little bit slanted, Half Dome looks like it's leaning. It's something I'm trying to be really cognizant of as I'm getting these shots, is to make sure that my camera's level so that I'm representing the shape of the granite accurately. Oh, that looks cool. Hold on.
I was looking at this giant rock face for a little while, trying to see if there was any interesting details I could shoot. I noticed on the lower left there was an area where it looked like some of the snow had broken off and slid down, leaving these bare streaks behind. Eventually, the clouds moved into a position that revealed them a little better, so I went ahead and took a shot. Nothing crazy, but I like these kinds of shots where the scale of certain details isn't immediately obvious. It might take a second of scanning the cliffside to find a full-size tree and realize that those snow slides are actually quite big.
So they're doing some work on the fallen trees, and oh, the fresh smell of pine is in the air. Oh, it's so fragrant. As soon as I was getting close, like I smelled it before I heard the machine going. It's pretty cool. The sun's starting to move away from the things that I'm shooting, or at least away from, or like behind the things that I'm shooting right now. So, although, ooh, wow, stuff like that still looks pretty cool. Yeah. Might pop down here for a minute.
This was just kind of cool. I saw a couple little waterfalls on this cliff face, and again, when I looked closer, I realized that they're not that little. They're just sitting on a monstrous wall of granite. I don't know if these falls are usually there or if it was just because of the melting snow, but it was cool to just follow the water and see how it leaves a path of ice and snow on the way down.
I think this is just nature telling me to move on, because as soon as I got my tripod set up and leveled, sun went behind a cloud and it just looked like another gloomy waterfall. So I probably ought to get of course the sun comes up. Okay, now it's just messing with me. It's starting to snow again, which is cool and all, but that I think is my sign to get out of here, because I don't want it to get too shitty on the roads leading out.
As much as I wanted to keep exploring, I couldn't help but feel like I didn't want to push it. I was still entertaining the idea of heading to Sequoia from here, so I figured I'd make my way to the exit, with just one final stop along the way. The scene from Valley View had a particularly unique look to it now with the fog and the snow. I just had to get out and find a composition, and this one made me pretty happy. I got really low to the water with a wide lens and a polarizer, so you could see the rocks in the riverbed. And that ended up also providing a little bit of color contrast to pop against the cooler tones of the photo. I also played with the shutter speed a little bit because I really liked being able to see the streaks of the snow that was still falling. Shortly after I got on the road to leave, the snow started really coming down. After making it safely out of the park and back to normal weather conditions, I decided to quit while I was ahead and just head home. I didn't think it'd be a good idea to explore another new park with a snowstorm rolling in through the area and single-digit temperatures for camping. I'd later find out that the snow that came through was actually enough to shut the park down for a little while, so it was nice to have my decision validated. Now, just because I was heading home didn't mean I put my camera away, so here's a few pics I took along the drive. I hope you enjoyed the videos of this trip, and if so, leave a comment below letting me know which photo was your favorite and where you think I should go next. Hit that like button and subscribe so you can catch me on the next trip. Thanks for watching. Jib Yubbins.